Learners, welcome to another English lesson. In this lesson, we're going to look at the usage of the word between and the word among. I'm your teacher, Mr. Mwana. Let's get started. Between and among are both prepositions that indicate the relationship between things but used differently. So between and among, these two words are both prepositions, and prepositions fall under parts of speech. You remember the parts of speech where we talk of the pronouns, nouns, adverbs, adjectives, conjunctions, and so on. So now we are looking at another part which is called prepositions. So our prepositions for this lesson will look at the word between and the word among. How do we use these words in different statements? So now these words, they are both used to indicate the relationship between things. But remember, they are used differently. Let's look at the word between. How do we use the word between? So when we are comparing, referring, or dividing two things, we use between. For example, what is the difference between you and me? So now before we even go to this example, let's understand what we are being told here. When we are comparing, referring, or dividing two things, we use between. So what does this mean? Let's say we have got two things before us, a piece of chalk and a ruler. Now we want to compare these two things. We'll say this ruler is longer than this piece of chalk. So if we ask a question, we would say between the ruler and the piece of chalk, which one is longer? So you discover that in our example we've used the word between. Why did we use between? It's because we are comparing two things. So always never make a mistake of saying what is the difference among you and me. That is wrong. Strictly when you are comparing two things, you need to use the word between. Sometimes when you are sharing two things or referring to two things, you use the word between, just like it is indicated in our first example here, where we said what is the difference between you and me? We've used between here because there are only two things that we are comparing, you and me. Example number 2, choose between coffee and tea. Choose between coffee and tea. So here when we look at this example, there are two options. We have coffee and tea. So if a person is supposed to choose between the two, then that person has to use the word between. You cannot say choose among coffee and tea. No, that is wrong. Between is used when comparing, referring, or dividing two things. Now that we've known what between means, let's now understand what among is, or when we are supposed to use the word among. So the word among, or the preposition among, is used when comparing, referring, or dividing more than two things. We use among. So when dividing, comparing, or referring to more than two things, we use the preposition or the word among. Let's check our two examples here. The first example says the difference among various cultures. The difference among various cultures. Why have they used the word among? It's because there are a lot of cultures. We don't just have one culture or two cultures. No, but we have more than two. So meaning we are referring to more than two. That's why we've used the word among. We cannot say the difference between various cultures. No, but the difference among various cultures. Let's look at a second example. The rumor spread among the students. The rumor spread among the students. So now in this case, we're referring to the spreading of the rumor, which was among the students. We use the word among because we are referring to a lot of students, more than two. So the rumor spread among the students. So this is how we use the two prepositions among and between. Let's quickly have a recap of what we've just learned today. Between and among are both prepositions that indicate the relationship between things, but used differently. Between, when comparing, referring, or dividing two things, we use between. For example, what is the difference between you and me? Another example, choose between coffee and tea. What of among? We said the preposition among, when comparing, referring, or dividing more than two things, we use among. For example, the difference among various cultures. The rumor spread among the students. I hope you've enjoyed the lesson, and I hope you've learned something new today. So this has been our short lesson on how to use between and among. So join us in the next lesson when we'll be looking at other different prepositions or words. Hope you've enjoyed. See you in the next lesson. Bye.